1929, Atlanta, Georgia. America is busy congratulating itself for being the land of the free while simultaneously running a racial segregation system so strict it tells black people which water fountain they're allowed to drink from. Freedom, but with an asterisk. Into this absurdity is born Martin Luther King Jr. At first, he's just Michael King Jr., son of a Baptist preacher. Later, his father changes both their names after being inspired by Martin Luther, because apparently one Martin Luther shaking up the establishment in history wasn't enough. The smart kid who saw the scam early. Young Martin is ridiculously smart, so smart that he skips grades and enters Morehouse College at 15 years old. 15! Most teenagers are figuring out algebra and acne. King is already studying theology and slowly realizing something disturbing. America's democracy is running on two completely different rulebooks, one for white citizens, one for everyone else. And spoiler alert, the second rulebook is garbage. The bus ride that started a revolution. Fast forward to 1955. In Montgomery, Alabama, a woman named Rosa Parks refuses to give up her bus seat to a white passenger. Which sounds small, but in the Jim Crow South, that's basically declaring war on the system. She's arrested. The black community decides they've had enough humiliation for one lifetime and launches the Montgomery bus boycott. And guess who they picked to lead it? The 26-year-old preacher with the calm voice and terrifyingly good speeches. Yep, Martin Luther King Jr. The nonviolent rebel. Now here's where King does something radical. Instead of picking up guns, he picks up nonviolent resistance, inspired by Mahatma Gandhi. Which sounds peaceful, but politically it's brilliantly aggressive. Because when peaceful protesters are beaten on camera, jailed, attacked with dogs and blasted with fire hoses, the world starts asking a very uncomfortable question. Wait, which side is supposed to be the civilized one again? The speech that shook America. 1963, Washington, D.C. King stands before 250,000 people at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, and delivers the speech that will echo through history. I have a dream. What follows is less a speech and more a moral uppercut to the entire country. He talks about justice, equality, children judged by character instead of skin color. It becomes one of the most famous speeches ever given, and suddenly the civil rights movement is impossible to ignore. Laws finally start changing. Pressure builds, protests grow, the world is watching. Finally, the U.S. government caves. 1964, Civil Rights Act of 1964. Segregation in public places, illegal. 1965, Voting Rights Act of 1965. Blocking black citizens from voting, also illegal. It only took a century after slavery ended. Better late than never, I guess. The price of speaking too loudly. But challenging the system has consequences. King receives constant death threats. He's surveilled by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, hated by extremists. And on April 4, 1968, in Memphis, Tennessee, Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated. He's 39 years old. 39! The irony of history. The man once called a troublemaker now has a national holiday, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Schools teach his speeches, politicians quote him,